It's Tuesday, the 28th of May, 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's go. Story number 1. Property giant Lendlease will write down nearly $1.5 billion in investments in its overseas construction and development business and unwind its international strategy to focus on growth here at home.
Yep, it'll all be about the Australian business. It'll also keep its international investment platform. For many years, Lendlease has been trying to make it overseas, but as demonstrated by its share price tumbling in recent months to about a quarter of its pre-COVID high, Chief Executive Tony Lombardo has been forced to change strategy. Lendlease's international works include unfinished developments in Malaysia, the US, Italy and UK. Basically, started when interest rates were low, property prices were up, cycle turn, Lendlease gets stuck with unprofitable or hard-to-fund developments. The company has already sold down some assets in the US and here in Australia. Mr. Lombardo yesterday said the new strategy will be less complex and Lendlease will be more fit for purpose. It wants to save about $125 million a year and do a $500 million share buyback. Shareholders liked it yesterday. The price of its shares jumped 8%.
Sean, we now have two kind of one-time blue chip companies, Lendlease and BHP, Lendlease and BHP taking very different tacks on overseas expansion. BHP, which of course remains a blue chip, is full steam ahead. Lendlease is the opposite.
In recent years, a track record of Aussie companies buying overseas is mixed at best, though often these deals take many years to play out. CSL spent $17 billion buying Swiss-based Vifor Pharmacy almost 2 years ago, pushing it into iron deficiency and kidney products. That deal's probably yet to pay dividends. The big banks have had a go going global. That really hasn't worked. Mostly they're now selling offshore assets. Goodman Group has tended to favour partnerships with offshore players. WiseTech Global's been a serial acquirer and given its share prices up 30% over the past year, 300% over 5 years, must be doing something right. Domino's Pizza's another one. Long way from being the best performing company on the exchange, but it has expanded into Japan and Europe pretty successfully. But BHP is just a monster, at least when it comes to Aussie acquirers. It operates in North and South America, Southern Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia. It's probably the exception to the rule in that it has been able to make it work.
All right, on to story number 2. This is an interesting one, Sean. Australia would be among the biggest losers if a trade war between the US and its allies and China escalated, according to the OECD.
The OECD says Australia's economic output would fall by about $30 billion if there was a 10% reduction in bilateral goods and services trade flows between major economies. Only South Korea would be worse off. Australia's ranking reflects the fact that we have a heavy dependence on China buying our commodities. In fact, about 80% of our mining exports go to China. Also, Australians buy billions of dollars worth of Chinese manufactured goods each year. The warning from the OECD comes as US presidential candidates Joe Biden and Donald Trump talk very tough on tariffs and bans on products to China, things like EVs, technology, etc. Another area of susceptibility for Australia is the education sector. That's worth about $48 billion to us. Very important that we get that one right, Michael.
Yeah, indeed. Now, story number 3, Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles says Friday's landslide in Papua New Guinea's highlands is an absolute tragedy and the Australian government will provide assistance to local authorities as the search and rescue effort progresses.
Marles told Radio National that Australia could provide airlift capabilities to rescuers who are navigating a remote and rugged environment and, of course, the danger of further landslides. More than 670 people have died in the landslide and more than 1,250 have been displaced, the International Organisation for Migration said over the weekend. Around 150 houses and their residents in a village called Yambali at the foot of a mountain in remote Enga province are submerged. Hopes of finding survivors are fading.
Story number 4, Sean, the Star Entertainment story has just been going and going and going, and there's another update today, a consortium that put an informal proposal to the gaming group. We spoke about this last week. It claims it does have a long-standing commercial relationship with Hard Rock International.
And it reckons it kept the Florida-based group in the loop on discussions. Now, last week, Hard Rock International said it had not had discussions with Star, nor had it licensed its name for any such discussions. Yesterday, 2 local companies confirmed that they approached Star in March with a strategy to turn around its assets in New South Wales and Queensland. According to the Fin Review, the 2 companies said they had submitted an indicative non-binding proposal to acquire the Sydney assets and had held the right to use the Hard Rock brand across designated territories, including Australia, for more than 30 years. Who knows what's true with that one?
Yeah, indeed. Last one. Story number 5. Dating apps, Sean, such as Tinder and Bumble, are exploring extra features and new branding to attract more Gen Z women in response to warnings that female users are suffering burnout on matchmaking platforms.
Match Group, which has more than 40 dating brands, including Tinder and Hinge, and Bumble, have both said they plan to boost content moderation and introduce other tools to improve women's experiences. Surveys have consistently shown a gender disparity among dating app users. According to the Financial Times, a recent poll by market research firm Mintel found that 47% of men aged between 18 and 34 in the UK had used a dating website or app in the year to December, just 25% of women. In terms of females, millennials are most likely to use dating apps. Gen Zers appear much more hesitant. Not helping is that some women have reported concerns about receiving unsolicited material and violent threats while using the services. The share prices of both Match Group and Bumble have fallen more than 80% from their highs on the back of the slowdown in use.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Tuesday, the 28th of May, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.